Welcome to the Family Beacon podcast from Minnesota Family Council with hosts Grace Evans and Moses Brattrud. Stay informed on the top stories on life, family, and religious freedom. Get the facts, stand for truth. Hello, everyone. My name is Grace Evans. I'm here with Moses Brattrud, and we bring you the top stories every single week on life, family, and religious freedom. This week, we'll be talking about Banned Books Week, and we'll be talking about how Google doesn't want you to know that the abortion pill can be reversed. Finally, we'll discuss how boys are falling farther behind girls in academic achievement. Moses, kick us off talking about Banned Books Week.
Banned books.
Yeah, so as Grace said, welcome to the Family Beacon. This week, September 26th through October 2nd, is Banned Books Week. That is a designation from the American Library Association, and you can go online and learn more about this. It's an annual event celebrating the freedom to read, and the theme this year is Books Unite Us, Censorship Divides Us. So this is the stories of how books are challenged. That's officially what it's called, challenged books, banned and challenged books. So that's when, say, a book is at a library or a school, and someone says this is bad, this is inappropriate, this is racist, whatever, and that book that's banned. Now, I should say, like, as a general principle, it's fine for some books to not be on the shelves, right? Like, there are some books that are inappropriate for kids. And when I look at this list of books, a lot of the books that are frequently challenged or banned by different libraries and schools are books that are aimed at kids or young adults, teens, and have explicit, nasty material. Right. And so it's completely natural that parents and community members would not want libraries and schools to have those books in the collection, or at least have, it just makes sense. But I think what's really interesting to me, Grace, about Banned Books Week is that there are a lot of books, some of the most frequently challenged books, the most frequently threatened books in terms of, like, you can't even publish this, are not on the list. Right. And a couple examples of that would be this book right here, Irreversible Damage by Abigail Shrier, The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters, and When Harry Became Sally by Ryan T. Anderson, a book on roughly covering the same ground. And so the idea, and we've discussed this on the podcast, the idea that the number of people who identify as transgender or non-binary has exploded in the last decade. This is it is a craze. It is a societal cultural phenomenon that is sweeping through, especially like middle schools and high school age girls.
Absolutely, and Shrier talks about that a lot too. And it's so tragic that so many girls are in just groups in school, and they don't even think about questioning their biological gender, biological sex, and then they do because one of their friends brings it up, or there's like a motivational speaker or a YouTuber that they follow, and then they begin to doubt themselves. Right.
There's so much material out there that kids have access to, and we talked last week about the internet wants your kids. The internet is trying to catechize, which is just a fancy word for teach. The internet is trying to teach your kids a certain view of sex and gender that is just absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in terms of, like, God made you male, God made you, or God made you female. Those are the two options, and you're happiest, and you're going to give the most honor and glory to God and the most honor to yourself when you accept that. Okay, so sorry to getting off my soapbox, because what about bringing this to Banned Books Week? Ryan T. Anderson's book, When Harry Became Sally, and we have a copy somewhere around the office, but I couldn't find it this morning. That book was actually banned by Amazon. You cannot buy it for sale on Amazon. Yeah. And it is it's not some kind of crazy screed against people. It doesn't say that transgender identified people are nuts or something or anything like that. It's just saying, like, let's tap the brakes on this, especially when it comes to our kids. And Amazon said that this book breaks our standards. And when that happened, Ryan Anderson actually pointed out, Amazon can't argue that they just sell books that they agree with.
Right.
Because there are plenty of books on Amazon that are bad. Like there are
Right.
racist and white supremacist books that are even self-published through Amazon's platform.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Amazon's fine with that. They sell Hitler's Mein Kampf.
Which I feel like that really plays into the whole, like, is big tech or social media platforms, they're acting like publishers when they're not, you know?
Right.
Because
yeah.
they're kind of like, okay, we're going to filter this, we're going to edit that, which is not their place, and that's not how they're treated legally, because there's so many different people writing for them, you could say, I guess, on their platform. So there's no way that they could even monitor every single person and take down things they disagree with the minute it's put up, because there's just so much content going through it. But it's just interesting to note that Amazon here was acting like a publisher, and Facebook and Instagram and other social media platforms are doing that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on the podcast too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big platforms are just increasingly just solidifying their chokehold on the internet.
Right.
And then once they do that, they decide what you get to see.
Especially when they're monopolies too, because Amazon, most people aren't going to go shop on eBay instead, right, or Craigslist. Like, Amazon is Amazon, and there's not really anyone competing with Amazon. Same with Target. There's Walmart, but is it really competitive? Not really. Target is clearly at the top. And so then when you have these big corporations that are at the top and don't have much competition, I mean, they have competition, but they've been at the top for a while. If they're deciding not to sell something, then you have to go out of your way to go get it, because if I'm going to buy a book, honestly, if not from Amazon, then I have to go to Barnes & Noble or something, and I never do that. I always buy from Amazon.
One thing to check out, if you have an independent bookstore that you like, go to bookshop.org. And that's a really great site.
Oh,
and
that's
you
great.
can find a bookstore and you just use that site. It just probably has as many books as Amazon, but you can buy it in a way that supports a local bookstore.
That's a good suggestion.
I have some local bookstores here in the area that I love, but I often there's ones in other areas that I like to support as well. So another local angle, #local angle on this Banned Books Week is Target. Target is based in Minneapolis, as most people know, and they actually banned this book. So Amazon banned When Harry Became Sally, and Target decided to ban Irreversible Damage. My understanding is that they had a single anonymous complaint on Twitter
Probably something like
about
that.
the book, and they removed it from their shelves. And
Hate speech.
Right. Yeah, this is such a dangerous book.
Because it tells the truth.
Yeah, it does. Exactly, and the truth is scary. So
It is scary.
it's just so interesting that Banned Books Week is supposed to be about celebrating free speech, giving a voice to unpopular points of view. But then it pushes an agenda that enjoys the support of top elected officials, woke corporations like Target and Amazon, and it ignores the censorship that's actually taking place.
Right, hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy of what's actually taking place. So this week for Banned Books Week, I will be revisiting When Harry Became Sally by Ryan T. Anderson and Irreversible Damage by Abigail Shrier, two of the most challenged books of the past year.
So that's how Moses will be celebrating. We just got this copy in the office of this book, and Moses and I were fighting over who got to take it home first. Do you want to tell them who won that argument?
Grace won.
Can you say that a little louder?
Okay, fine. Grace won.
Great, like usual.
Now, if we had done an arm wrestle, if we had arm wrestled for it, I probably would have won.
I don't know. I'm pretty buff.
No,
Anyways.
I let Grace win because as a man, I believe in ladies first.
Oh.
So
Well, that's toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
Just teasing.
that's we have to smash the patriarchy, and so since that's true,
No uterus,
I think what
no
that
opinion.
means is that I get the book first.
Oh, well. Let's move on to our next topic, though. Moses, have you covered everything you want to?
Yeah. So that's Banned Books Week. Grace, something a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
Tell us about live action and the work they do and how Google is trying to prevent them from doing that crucial work.
Yeah. So Live Action is an amazing pro-life organization that has huge impact nationwide and both worldwide in saving children from abortion and changing hearts and minds, and also being support for mothers, pregnant mothers. And this story really shocked me, and sometimes I'm reminded of what a culture war we really are in. Moses and I know we're in a culture war. We comment on it weekly, as you guys know. But sometimes there are stories like this that really do shock me, just the censorship and the age that we live in and the power that Google even has.
Right.
So Recently, Google banned Live Action's abortion pill reversal ad. And I just want to talk you through the reasons that Google gave, and then Live Action's response to it. So first and foremost, I think it's important to note that these ads about the abortion pill reversal, Google previously had approved these ads. They had been running for 4 months. They'd spent over $170,000. And these ads had directed hundreds of mothers to the abortion pill reversal hotline, which is just phenomenal. And it had a huge impact. Now, Google faulted Live Action's ads about the abortion pill reversal for using, and I quote, restricted drug terms, restricted medical content, health in personal advertising, and misleading content. Now, recently, Google also halted Live Action's ads promoting a video that depicts development of an unborn baby in the womb.
I saw that. That was so beautiful.
Baby Olivia.
Yeah.
Reposted that, of course. It's signed off by many medical professionals. It shows fetal development from a very early age, which is just amazing. And it walks you through the different stages. And it's very realistic. And highly recommend you watch that. We'll link that in the show notes. Baby Olivia. Just amazing.
It's such a like the idea that video, I watched it all the way through and I thought, man, this is so cool. And it looked exactly like what you would see in an embryology textbook. It's not like, like when you look at an ultrasound or an image of a baby at 6 weeks, a baby doesn't look like the baby that comes out of the womb, many months later, right? Like the babies change, and so the idea that Live Action is accurately depicting what a baby looks like in the womb, that was the whole point of the video. Like they were trying to give you the accurate portrayal of what a baby looks like in the womb, and Google takes issue with that. I don't understand it.
But we need to ask ourselves why they take issue with it, right? Because if we start talking about this is how you win with the pro-life message, honestly, we should probably do an unwoke video on this, how to win the pro-life message in 2 minutes or something, because this is how you win. You win when, one, you talk about the reality of abortion and what abortion really does to both women and children, because most people don't know what abortion procedures look like. And second, you win when you talk about the humanity of the preborn and fetal development, because again, most people are uninformed about when the heart begins to beat, when fingernails begin to form, when the baby has a brain, when the heart, there's so many things about fetal development, and Baby Olivia shows exactly that. It shows that a baby is human, and that all a baby needs is a little bit of time, development, and growth and nurture inside its mother's womb before it will come out as a newborn. And so it's a powerful video, and that's why they're trying to censor it, because they know that it shows the truth about what abortion really does and what abortion really hurts. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. So this abortion pill reversal has saved over 2,500 children to date, Moses.
That's amazing. A pill that, did I tell you this? I was listening to a podcast last week, and it was, I did tell you. It was the Minnesota DFL, the Democratic Party, their podcast here in Minnesota. And, and they had an episode about abortion, and it was a real train wreck.
Was it really?
They had a guest on there who was just going through some of the most ridiculous pro-abortion talking points, and would never use the word women, never use the word pregnant woman, always was referring to pregnant persons.
Well,
I think
because
even
it's politically
used the word birthing
incorrect
people.
to say that only women can get pregnant.
Yeah, exactly. So not only is it abortion craziness, but also gender hysteria.
Crazy.
And they were saying, and this woman was saying, that the abortion reversal pill is dangerous because it can cause bleeding. And I have not verified that, but does she not understand what the abortion pill does? The abortion pill induces miscarriage. There will be bleeding.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I'm going to talk about that later too.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to. Yeah. So let's talk about that, Grace, if you can. Tell us why the abortion reversal pill matters.
Right. And I think it's really important because people often don't understand what it actually does to women. I don't know if you've probably seen the movie Unplanned. which is it tells the story of Abby Johnson, who used to be an abortion clinic director. She quickly rose to the top. I think she was the youngest abortion director ever at that time. And it tells her story and how she actually underwent a abortion by pill, and just the horrific, you're sitting in your house by yourself and you're on the toilet in the bathroom and you're just bleeding for days, and it's terrible. It's just, and that scene is very medically accurate. Doctors have come out and said that it's very medically accurate. So definitely watch Unplanned to just understand the gravity of what abortion really is and what it does to women, not only children, but also children.
And we got to meet Abby Johnson last year. She was the guest at Minnesota Family Council's 2020 dinner, which was awesome. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, Grace, but this pill, the abortion pill, Google is allowing advertisements for the abortion pill, which causes the symptoms that Abby Johnson experienced that you're talking about.
Yes. So Google allows advertisements for that. So they're very, very biased. And Lila Rose, president and founder of Live Action, has called them out on that. So potential side effects of the abortion pill, it could result in incomplete abortion, which may need to be followed by extrasurgical procedures, because sometimes it's not effective, especially if the abortionist miscalculates the age of the fetus, which happens more often than you would think. It can also cause it can cause heavy and prolonged bleeding, so much. It can cause infection, high fevers, digestive system discomfort. Like I said, heavy bleeding, that can result in soaking 2 or more pads every hour. And severe abdominal pain, back pain, the fever can last for more than 24 hours. Just, it's not natural. Women's bodies are not designed to undergo this horrific procedure. Now, I just want to break down what the pills are exactly, just so that we're very aware of what the pills do, because I think it's important
because we need to have the facts
so that we can stand for truth.
Absolutely, and that's not just our tagline, but when we get to speaking about specific ways of inducing abortion and ways of potentially preventing abortion, facts matter because lives are on the line, right?
Right, exactly. And every life matters, and we should fight for every life. Even if by doing this podcast, Moses and I only saved one life, if there was one pregnant woman on here that was considering an unplanned pregnancy, and then she decided, or if she was considering an abortion, and she listened to our podcast and decided to choose life, that would be a win. It would make everything that Moses and I are doing worth it if we only saved one life. And even if just spreading truth so that other people can go and stand for truth.
Absolutely.
That's why we do what we do. So I'm going to break it down for you very simply. So mifepristone is the first, this blocks the natural hormone progesterone, and that effectively causes a miscarriage. And that's what the pill does. And then the reversal treatment actually gives a woman more progesterone, which reverses the effect of that pill. And a woman can only reverse the medication abortion before she takes that second pill. So if you are a woman and you're in an unplanned pregnancy right now and you've undergone you've taken the first pill, you can call 877-558-0333 right now. That is the 24/7 helpline for the abortion pill reversal. And you can go to abortionpillreversal.com. If you have any questions, there's a support agent that you can talk to right away. The box pops up as soon as you go onto the website. And just know that we're here for you. And if you reach out to Minnesota Family Council, if you reach out to our email, moses@mfc.org, we will be here for you. We will raise support. I will run a fundraiser. The pro-life movement, is here for you, and we will fight for everything for you to keep your baby.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to put that out there. Now, I want to read off something that Google claimed about this. This was their official statement in response to them banning Live Action's ads and Live Action speaking against it. So they said, "We do not permit ads with unproven medical claims. Medical experts have raised serious concerns about abortion reversal pills. Beyond protecting users from medical harm, our policies do not distinguish between promoting pro-choice and pro-life messages." Now, they say in that they want to protect their users from medical harm. What causes medical harm? The abortion pill.
Yes, absolutely.
It causes, in every successful abortion, an innocent human dies, but also women are hurt by this. So that causes medical harm, and clearly they do distinguish between promoting pro-choice and pro-life messages because they're censoring the pro-life movement. And so it's just ridiculous. And Lila Rose, president and founder of Live Action, again, called them out, and I just want to end by reading this quote from her. She said, "The pro-abortion forces don't want women to know that it's possible to reverse the process. They don't want to admit that abortion regret exists. This attack on this FDA-approved drug, which it is absurd. It is politically motivated. It's cynical. They're weaponizing fake claims about science in order to shut down this life-saving treatment, which I think is so true. And it goes to show there are babies that are saved through the abortion pill reversal. Go onto their website, like I already stated, and look at the stories. There's so many success stories on there. Babies that have been saved.
All these pictures of smiling kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, and people are like, yep, here's my baby. I had this baby healthy, safely after taking the abortion pill reversal medication, and yet the talking point is that the abortion pill reversal never works, that it's ineffective, that it doesn't work.
Right. And we know for a fact that the abortion pill reversal has saved over 2,500 children to date. That is amazing, and we need to celebrate that. And there are so many lives and so many stories that demonstrate that it truly does work. And so what Google is doing and saying that it's unscientific and that it hurts women or hurts people is absolutely untrue. It shows their bias. Lila Rose is exactly right, and we need to stand with Live Action in supporting them, the work they do, the work of abortion pill reversal, and them running ads that literally save lives. It's truly amazing. And what Google is doing is, again, they're acting like publishers, and they're truly showing their bias, and it's disturbing.
Absolutely. Yeah. We could go on about, like, I just the thing that stands out to me is Google claiming that they're not making any judgments between the pro-life and the pro-choice movement when they're allowing ads for the abortion pill to stand, but taking ads for the abortion pill reversal down.
Exactly.
When the abortion pill is not safe, and it's approved by the FDA, but you will have these symptoms that Grace talked about because it's inevitable, because that's how the abortion takes place.
Literally, the second pill you take it at home, and 6 to 48 hours after you take that, it causes terrible cramping, terrible bleeding, and it's striving to empty the uterus and expel the baby.
It's designed to do, to have these horrible...
Which is terrible. Your baby is literally... I'm tearing up thinking about this. Your baby is literally being ripped from you, and you're doing this at home by yourself. It is not safe, and it's just disgusting what Google is doing, honestly.
Yeah, it is. The idea that we can spare women from that, and that Google is stopping pro-life groups from doing that. It's just like, I thought it was about choice. Like, what if women want to make a choice for life?
And I talk about that all the time. The pro-choice movement is always talking about, I should say pro-abortion. The pro-abortion movement is always talking about how the pro-lifers don't want to give women a choice. But at the same time, they are only supporting things that will enable women to choose abortion, to kill their child. The pro-abortion movement will not stand with women if they decide to choose life for their baby. Planned Parenthood, if you walk into a facility and you say, I want to choose life for my baby, show me an ultrasound, give me resources for adoption, give me a pregnancy resource center I can go to, they will not help you. They will only stand with you if you choose abortion for your baby. And that is not empowering women. That is not women empowerment. And that is what Planned Parenthood claims that they support, but they don't. And it shows that they're biased and that they're out for the money, because that's where they get the most money, is when they perform abortions.
Absolutely. It is an industry, and it's a very profitable one.
Right.
So you talked about some pro-abortion talking points. One pro-abortion talking point is that pro-lifers only care about children up until the time that they're born.
Right.
Which is just so laughable on many fronts. But I'm going to just prove that wrong right now.
Yes, absolutely.
By talking about education. And education is, so crucial to the development of healthy young Christian men and women who are able to excel in whatever field they choose. And that's why it's really worrisome, Grace, that we're seeing a gap, an achievement gap between boys and girls. And so the big Wall Street Journal article towards the beginning of this month saying that as of spring 2021, women accounted for 60% of all students attending colleges and universities. We're going towards a situation where within a few years, 2 women will be graduating from college for every 1 man. So this is huge. This is a huge problem, and it's like we're dealing with. So first of all, this article is about college achievement, but the problem starts much earlier. The problem starts in elementary school or earlier.
And they make the point. They say, this is a quote from it, one major factor contributing to this is the collapse of our culture's construction of masculinity,
Right.
which is so true because little boys are being told that being masculine is toxic and holding doors open for women is toxic,
Right.
and all these things, which is not true. And so you're right, it starts young.
And it's just like, I love this article. This is from the Institute of Family Studies, and we'll share this in the show notes. So this is a doctor. He's a family doctor, and he's just talking about his observations about education and culture. And he says, American schools, with a few exceptions, have become unfriendly to boys. And he talks about how pop singers used to talk about like the Beach Boys talking about be true to your school. There was a place for academic achievement where academic achievement was something that was praiseworthy for boys, and there was a sense of competition for good grades among boys, which is good because boys need to bump up against each other. They need to compete, and that's how they grow.
Absolutely.
And so the author says it's impossible to imagine Bruno Mars or Drake, talking about get good grades, kids, because their
work
whole
hard, strive for something.
Our entire pop music edifice is based on the idea that you should remain stupid so that they can continue to sell stupid music to you.
Moses, I want to read another quote and just talk about that for a minute from this article. It says, most women want husbands who are their equals in motivation, work ethic, and achievement. Our culture now largely fails to motivate boys to work as hard as their sisters. That is so true. Speaking as a woman, I would not want to marry someone who is significantly less smart or hasn't gone to college because I want to pursue higher education. I wouldn't do that. Maybe I'd be wrong, but I don't see myself ever doing that.
So Grace, question about that.
Yeah.
At your school, you're in college. What's the sex ratio? Like, are there
in
more
my
girls
class
than boys?
I think there's more girls, honestly.
I think
it's hard.
almost every private college there are.
Yeah.
It's just difficult because boys need to be academically fired up, and they're just not.
I think they are when they start dating someone seriously. Then they're like, "Oh, I gotta get my life together."
well, those are the.
The problem is a lot of girls don't want to date the guys if they're not already motivated. I wouldn't want to date someone if I was the motivating factor. I want you to already be pursuing things and pursuing a higher calling and being on track with your vocation, and not just me being the motivating person.
Right. It's just. It's so sad to see this. So last week, I want to equal opportunity here. Last week we talked about some of the dangers afflicting young girls. Instagram, TikTok, those things can be particularly damaging to young girls' sense of well-being and self-image and so forth. For boys, the comparative things would certainly be pornography and video games, and I think even video games especially because just the amount of hours that boys spend playing video games through their entire childhood into their adulthood is absolutely unbelievable. Hours and hours and hours. And of course, the games are designed to be addictive. They are addictive. I've been addicted to video games. I'm not looking at this from the outside.
Yeah.
I don't really play video games much anymore, which is amazing.
Over last Christmas, my family got a PS4.
Oh, really?
Wait, was it a PS4? No, Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch. See, I can't even get my lingo right. And we got Zelda on it, and I grew up watching my brother play it so much, so I actually got a little into it. Which I'm not a gamer girl, but it was really fun.
That does sound fun. I think I'll illustrate the difference between us by when I do sit down to play a game. I like Cities Skylines, which is like a city builder game. It's like a new version of SimCity.
I like Minecraft, honestly. Building.
Minecraft?
That's fun. I don't ever play it because I don't have time, but I used to.
I just think it's so dumb. Minecraft, like I've talked with my younger male relatives about Minecraft and what an absolute waste of time it is. And
you should take that up with my brother because
our filmographer is a fan of Minecraft, and I'm going to tell him right now on the air that you would be spending your time better if you read a book.
We really get in the weeds in this show, but all that to say is I want to marry someone that I am intellectually challenged by. I don't just want to be marrying someone who's like, oh yes, honey, whatever you think, honey, and just as a yes man. That's not what I want. Like in the Hunger Games with Katniss and Peeta, that is not what I want. I don't want the boy with the bread, the lover boy. I don't want that. I don't want someone who's just going to agree with me. I want someone who will push me because you're stronger together if you have different viewpoints and if you can push each other and if both of you are intellectually stimulated, not just one person is leading the charge. So
right. So this starts in kindergarten, and it starts with a fact that I didn't have a male teacher until I was in 11th grade.
Wow.
And I went to a really small school, but I also didn't have any boys in my grade until 9th grade. So, like, I was in the completely female-dominated environment, and I didn't have any incentive to perform academically. Like, you know, I could have been pushed, and if there are other boys in my grade or near my grade who were, and if the teachers had been, first of all, I'm so grateful for the education I received. I really am so grateful, and it was really good. But I didn't have a lot of male role models. And if I had teachers, coaches, pastors, family friends who could have mentored me and said, "Hey, Moses, why are you getting C's when you could be getting A's?" Like, if someone had told me that in grade school, then I could have, because you know, in college I was able to be on the honor roll a couple times, and in college there was a culture of academic achievement that really pushed me.
Because this college you went to was very academically rigorous, so the fact that you were on honor roll there is achievement.
I am pretty proud of that.
Magna cum laude, is that what you graduated with?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't have a high enough GPA to graduate with honors. That would have need to have been a 3.75, but a couple of times I was on honor roll, and that was at New St. Andrews College, Moscow, Idaho. Shout out, send your kids, nsa.edu. It's a wonderful school.
bcsmn.edu, Bethlehem College in here in Minneapolis. Send your kids.
Bethlehem College is kind of like a Baptist copy of New St. Andrews, though.
True,
right?
they're very similar. They're both liberal arts focused. Bethlehem is Baptist, and then New St. Andrews is Presbyterian. But Moses, you're Lutheran, so you really don't have a say in this.
No, well, that's true. That's true. Although, as a Lutheran, I will say, baptize your babies. Okay, so coming back to this about academic achievement, I think it really, like, we can talk. The point is, we need to recognize there's a problem.
Yes.
And I do think, Grace, I'm going to say something. I think that women are oftentimes are blaming men. Are blaming boys, like female teachers blaming boys. I've heard female teachers talk about how difficult it is to control male students. In fact, my 6-year-old nephew, we asked him what the hardest part of school was, and he just said, being quiet. You know, like, this kid is smart, but he is someone who's so talkative. Like, he has like 20 different dinosaurs. He knows, like, the Latin names for all of them.
That is amazing.
He's such a sweet kid, and I think he'll do great in the academic environment. But it reminds me of his brother, or my brother, his dad. When he was a kid, he got a report card that said, "Abe continues to make his noises," and just like, there's nothing wrong with what it just there isn't room for boys to be boys, to roughhouse. I mean, obviously there's a time and a place for that. So, like, this guy is suggesting, if you want to send your son to a school that's going to be good for boys, there should be 3 recesses per day, and kids should be allowed to play aggressive fighting games. And he just means like tag and dodgeball,
not like hitting each other. Obviously.
Our rule on the playground was, if there's no blood, you don't have to tell an adult.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, but isn't Montessori-style learning kind of like that? Doesn't it emphasize that kids need to get up to move, be more hands-on?
Yeah.
So I think if your kid especially is like your nephew, where he really needs to be active, I think Montessori-style teaching, especially in the younger years, can be really helpful and beneficial. It's similar to classical. It's not the same, but it's a lot of hands-on experience and going out into nature and things like that, rather than it's less sitting in the classroom. And I think there's more recesses, too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think the takeaway for parents is that, like, don't just assume that your kid is going to come to school, that your son is going to come to school and have an environment that's actually going to be good for them. It can be hard, I think, especially for moms, to understand that an environment that looks perfectly normal, even is academically rigorous, might be it might be so frustrating for a boy if they're not allowed to be a boy in that environment.
Right.
And now I think this is, I want to step back from education, because we live in a world, and you kind of said this at the beginning, we live in a world that has no rewards for traditional masculinity.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we live in a just taking the housing market for an example,
right.
Like, the housing market is set up that if you just have one earning household, then it's going to be difficult for you to afford a house, because most people who are buying houses are partnered men and women where both of them work.
Yeah, and even on a more day-to-day basis, very much smaller. But I'm shocked when I walk into a Starbucks or a coffee shop and the guy in front of me holds the door open for me. It's a shock to me because they just don't. And I like it when guys open the doors for me, but they just don't because women call them out and say that it's toxic.
That's just your internalized misogyny talking.
The patriarchy has brainwashed me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think. I mean, just a question to our viewers and listeners. I mean, when you look at Grace and think of Grace, doesn't the word brainwashed, isn't that just the first word that comes to mind? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. So we need to talk, though, about change at the root, because radical change, because the competitive aspects of school that would drive boys to compete to get good grades are absolutely dead. And when we get to the workforce, men thrive in jobs that have certain types of mental work, like engineering and skilled trades, carpentry, electrician. But the fastest growing jobs are all either behind the keyboard, which men and women are equally good at, obviously, or women are better, possibly, or the quote-unquote caring vocations like nursing, home, healthcare, that type of thing. And that's something that many men don't feel naturally drawn towards. So we're looking at an absolute precipice for men in terms of earnings. I think if you're under 40, women already earn more than men.
Wow.
So is
that really true?
Yeah.
Under 40?
The quote unquote pay gap, the gender pay gap.
I know that's different because people will say that, but women make different life choices than men and different career choices. And also women don't advocate for pay raises nearly as often as men do.
Maybe, yeah. I think women probably need to be more assertive in the workplace. I think that's generally like...
I feel like I'm pretty assertive. Am I?
Oh, yeah. Grace barged into my office and asked me for a raise multiple times. More women need... I'm
exposed.
Just being real here. More women need to be doing that.
Yeah,
so
true.
So the problem that men and boys face is that our society is organized in a feminized way. Like, it really is. Like, there is no overnight fix. Men are wired to be providers. Men are wired to be protectors. Men are wired to be leaders.
But can you unpack
that's
that
controversial.
More?
Yeah,
that our society is ordered in a feminized way. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well,
okay,
I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad, but let's just take like the fact that my great grandfather was. A couple of my great grandfathers worked on the assembly line in Detroit making cars.
So you're saying it's light on manual labor now?
No, it's not just manual labor, Grace, because men are better not just at physical strength, but also dexterity and things like mechanical knowledge, like being able to put together a car from memory.
But I think there's still a market for that because, with the revolution of Ford and cars being created, there are jobs for that. And I think since we live in the city, it's more normal to have a desk job.
I'm sorry, but that's not correct. Because all of those manufacturing jobs, poof, they're gone. That's why Donald Trump was elected, because all the manufacturing jobs, which are good for men and women,
but you can still go
are gone.
You can still, there's so much rural area here in Minnesota.
But there's no opportunities in those rural areas, Grace.
If you want to be a farmer,
but
men can be farmers.
No one wants to be a farmer.
Some people actually
Farmers
do.
are notoriously... Well, I do have friends who want to be farmers. God bless you. But the point is, farmers are notoriously poor.
But don't you want to do something that makes you happy, that you enjoy doing? Because Ecclesiastes said there is no better thing than for you to toil under the sun and to take joy in your work. And so really it comes down to, what do you enjoy doing and does it bless others?
Ecclesiastes says that you should love the wife of your youth. I'm married. I need to love the wife of my youth. And the way I need to love her is to provide for her and our daughter. And I can't do that by being a farmer.
I don't know if I fully agree with your premise that our culture is feminized, but I'd be open to hearing more about it. I do think that since we live in Minneapolis, which is a very big city, there's a lot more desk jobs available. And I think maybe your premise is right that women are better at those jobs because women tend to be detail-oriented. I'm very detail-oriented. You're not, which is why we're a good team.
I'm not saying that women are better at desk jobs, period.
Okay.
But I'm saying that, like, the idea that all of us, that most jobs now are behind a desk, that privileges smart men and most women. Like, because men are not able to. Many men are not able to just get on that pipeline because they aren't getting on the education pipeline, which goes to the work pipeline, and then their lifetime earnings are depressed, and then they like, if I have a good job, then I'm motivated to get up in the morning, and I'm motivated to go to work, and I'm motivated to provide, I'm motivated to enter if I'm single, I'm motivated to enter the dating market and be a high value match for some woman. But if I'm not, if I don't have a good job, if I don't have good education prospects, then what I do is I sit at home on my tush,
eating Doritos and Cheetos,
and I eat chips off my chest and play Halo 2, as the song says. Like play video games, or worse, and we see this locally in our area, get involved in crime. Why is crime a problem? Because there are no opportunities for young men. Because there are failing schools, no job market for quote-unquote low-skill jobs, or there are plenty of low-skill jobs, but those jobs don't have a pathway to stability. I see many ads. I'm sorry, this is such a soapbox for me because I care about the fact that our society is hostile to men. It just is. And one of the ways it is... Our
society, I think, is more hostile to women.
No, I disagree.
Really?
No, I absolutely disagree.
Wow.
Because look at what is the single most important thing that people can achieve in our culture? It's getting a bachelor's degree. 60% of bachelor's degrees are awarded to women. I'm not saying it needs to be 50-50.
Women work pretty hard. What can I say?
Well, I'm not. No, women deserve their success, but I'm saying that our culture is. I really think I
do think it's hard because there are. I wouldn't say that there aren't any opportunities to young men, because I definitely think there are. It's just sometimes you are handed an opportunity, and all you have to do is take it. I think I've been handed a lot of opportunities in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. And all I've had to do is go pursue it and say yes to that. But a lot of people have to go out there and have to find that opportunity, to fight for even the opportunity. And so definitely I think that there's differences, especially depending on where you live, your family background, the connections that your family has. But at the same time, last night I was at a Twins game in Minneapolis, and
cool. Did they win?
They did, yeah.
Okay, wow. And breaking news, the Twins won a game.
Oh my goodness, they were playing the Tigers. And I actually love the Tigers because I'm from Michigan.
Oh.
But
I should have worn my Twins hat today.
Anyways, I was walking home, and I was walking home, I know. I was with other people, so it was safe, trust me, relatively. But there's just a lot of guys sitting on their butts in the streets, smoking pot, catcalling me, and I was like, I didn't say anything, obviously, but it was just...
You walked home from Target Field to where you live in Phillips?
No, not where I live, to the church.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't, I would never walk through Phillips at night, ever, ever. Yeah, do not do that. But anyways, I was with other people, had my pepper spray in my hand, but still, it was just like, why can't you get off your butt, stop calling me names, and go get a job? It's not that hard to get a job at McDonald's. That's better than sitting on the street. The problem, though, I think this plays into it, is that most people can get paid more money to sit on their butts and do nothing, and because of the government handing out free money, than they can to work a minimum wage job at McDonald's, which is depressing.
Well, that's only true if you're actively looking for work. That's how you qualify for unemployment insurance. Yeah, you
can do that, and it's just the government can pay you more money to not work than you can to work.
That's absolutely a thing. That's a policy thing that affects both men and women. But one thing, and this applies to both men and women. There's no pathway oftentimes from the low wage jobs that we see advertised, like working at McDonald's or working in a warehouse. There's no, or being a school bus driver. Those got to be the three most common ads I see. And then it's all like, oh, $15 an hour. It's like, great, you could probably pay the bills, but you can't buy a house with that kind of money unless you're married. And there's also no pathway or very little pathway from flipping burgers to owning a restaurant, to actually creating wealth.
You have to go out there and you have to make connections, and you have to search for those opportunities. You really do. I'm not saying that it's hard, but if you look at someone like Fodi Bakum, who I've been studying his life recently, he was born to a single mom. His dad left his mom, which is tragic, and he grew up in a not so good area, and he went to school, and even though his school system wasn't the best, he tried very hard. He was very academically motivated. He thrived in school. At first, he wasn't. At first, he was kind of a bum in school, and then his mom talked to him and said, "You are my son. I expect more from you." And then he started getting A's and being smart and talking in class. And then he went to college, and again, he applied himself. And I think that's something that we can take away from this, is that you can accomplish so much if you simply work hard, if you're on time, if you're respectful. These are things that you can control about yourself that you don't need anything else for. If you're on time to things, if you dress well, if you don't dress like you're just sitting around, if you don't wear pajama pants, wear some nice slacks, dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have.
Right.
And then you work hard and be respectful of others. Like, these are things that you can do.
That's absolutely right. And I want to say this to the men. Like, God designed men for leadership, okay? That is the biblical model. That does not mean that every man is a great leader in the workplace and that every woman has to be submissive and stay at home. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that men crave the ability to lead, and that comes from the ability to hustle, as Grace said. The ability to work hard.
Because if you can hustle and if you can show me that you're worth listening to, then I'm going to listen to you. But if you're just going to be sitting around on your couch and you expect me to respect your authority, absolutely not. I will not respect your authority because you're sitting around and you're achieving much less than I am, right?
I think, Grace, you are Gen Z and you're being hard on men in Gen Z.
I am.
I think you're totally right. But also, let's just have a little bit of grace for the situation that they're in, just like we have grace for the young women who are being predated upon by social media, by Instagram and TikTok. The young men are being predated upon by the video game companies and the pornography industry. True. And so we all have our cross to bear. I want to bring this in for a landing by saying that men and women are both happiest, and we both give glory to God the most when we when we understand and play into the roles and natural strengths that God gives us. Can we agree on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shake hands on it. Last thing.
We got to hold that for the picture.
Oh, that's great. So last thing, though, what are you reading this week, Grace?
Oh, so I'm rereading, I guess you could say skimming, Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self by Truman.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say it slower. Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self by Truman, because I'm considering, I have to write a big term paper for one of my philosophy classes, and we're doing early modern philosophy. And I think I'm going to write it on something to do with the early modern philosophy movement, the early modern philosophers such as Descartes, Kant, and just how that ties into the rise and triumph of the modern self, like Truman talks about, and just the elevation of your own feelings over objective truth. So I think I might do something on that. So I'm kind of rereading that, and then of course I'll be rereading Irreversible Damage this week in honor of Banned Books Week.
I'm taking it home with me. I guess we'll have to settle that offline. I'm reading The Weirdest People in the World by Joe Heinrich, and it's a very interesting book. So the title is a mouthful. The Weirdest People in the World, How the West Became Psychologically Peculiar and Particularly Prosperous. That is too many P's. So the idea is, so weird is capitalized, that's Western, educated, industrialized, rich democracies. So people in America, Western Europe, South America, places like that. And so there's 4 basic tenets, so you don't have to read the book because I'm telling you. Religious conviction can powerfully shape decision-making, psychology, and society. So one of the big things in the book is how just the fact that the Western Catholic Church prohibited cousin marriage in like 500 AD led to this breaking of kinship and cousinhood ties that led to partly to the birth of the modern society. 2, culture. Beliefs, practices, technologies, social norms can shape our brains, biology, and psychology. If you're illiterate, there is literally a part in your brain that's larger than if you're illiterate. So your brain literally changes, and if you're literate, you're worse at recognizing faces than illiterate people. Isn't that interesting? So our brains change. We give trade-offs when we give space in our brains to literature. Another thing. Psychological changes induced by culture can shape all manner of subsequent events by influencing what people pay attention to, how they make decisions, which institutions they prefer, how much they innovate. So things like the market, the free market. Why did that happen in the Netherlands? Right. Kind of where it first arose, rather than in China, for example. 4 Literacy provides our first example of how Westerners became psychologically unusual, and he ties that to the Reformation. Very
that's
interesting. Maybe we'll have to do a future
Yeah.
episode on that, but for now, this is all the time we have. Thank you for watching or listening to The Family Beacon with Moses Bratchford and Grace Evans from Minnesota Family Council. Get the facts, stand for truth, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that little bell icon so that you get a notification every time we post something. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to or watching this episode of the Family Beacon podcast from Minnesota Family Council. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you're up to date on life, family, and religious freedom. You can follow us on Instagram at MN Family Council and subscribe to us on YouTube to watch our content. Get the facts, stand for truth.